Welcome to Nach Simanim. I'm Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning Shmuel aleph perek chaf, one of the longer prakim in this sefer. So this begins by David going to Yonatan and telling him how he thinks his father's trying to kill him. And Yonatan's like, "What? My father's trying to kill you? I'm going to make sure that he's not trying to kill you. Okay, you're going to be absent from the New Moon Festival, Rosh Chodesh, where they have korbanos, which are allowed at this time, on Bamos, and David is usually expected to dine with the king because he's his top soldier, but he'll be absent, and while Yonatan will be at the meal, and if the king asks Yonatan, "Oh, hey, where's David? Why isn't he here?" He'll tell him that he gave David permission to go to Beit Lechem with his family to eat the Rosh Chodesh festival with his family. Now, based on Shaul's reaction, he'll be able to see whether Shaul is actually angry with David and wants to kill him, or is he like, okay, he's fine, and he'll be able to go home. And then they go out and they promise that they will always protect each other. David promises that he will not harm any of Yonatan's family and kids. And they have a plan of being able to tell each other what Shaul actually thinks of David based on a secret message, which we will explain. Now, on day one, David is missing, and Shaul thinks, okay, it happens. He might be tameh, so he can't eat the korbanos. But on the second day, he's like, well, he should have gone to the mikvah to become pure, so he should have been able to come today. And he is very, very angry when he sees that David isn't there, and is a violent outburst. And Yonatan is wondering, why are you so mad? He's like, well, David isn't here, and he says that, and Yonatan defends David and is like, what has he done wrong? Shaul gets mad at Yonatan and says, what are you talking about? You are a rebellious son, and as long as David lives, you will never be king. And he even tries to throw a spear at his own son, leading Yonatan to leave in anger, and now really knows that Shaul wants David dead. So he is out in the field and sends the warning signals as they had previously agreed upon. How if he shoots the bow and arrow really far away, that means you should run, David. But if he sends it really close, it means everything is fine. So the next morning, he goes with his arrow, bow, and young servant that will help him in his shooting activity. And he throws... So he winds up the bow and he shoots it really far and it's like, oh, my arrows are so far. Run really fast, he says to the servant, adding to the message that my father really wants to kill you. But after sending the boy away, David emerges and he is just so overwhelmed with emotion. He cannot leave without saying goodbye and says goodbye to Yehonatan, leading to this tearful, heart-wrenching goodbye. As a recap, we have the secret plan between David and Yonatan with using the arrows to figure out if Shaul really wants to kill David. We have the new covenant that was made between them to say how much they truly cared for each other and wanted the best for each other. We have the king's rage at the Rosh Chodesh Seudah meal of how angry he was that David wasn't there, and even throws a spear at his own son. Then we have the warning arrows that Yonatan sends, warning David to flee, followed by a very sad goodbye between the two of them. We are in perek chaf, so just like Zichru, we use a cafe, chaf, cafe. Yonatan in the cafe shoots warning arrows to send a message. Sorry, one more time. Yonatan in the cafe shoots a warning arrow to the server to send a message. So this reminds us how Yonatan in the cafe, that reminds us we're on perek chaf, and he shoots warning arrows to the server, which represents David, to remind us how Yonatan and David, they agreed upon how they would send messages to each other to make sure that David knows if Shaul wants to kill him or not. They create this whole system with arrows of shooting it far or close to send a message to David. And then Yonatan goes to the Rosh Chodesh meal to figure out, is this actually happening? Then figures out, yeah, my dad really wants to kill David. So he then goes out the next day sending arrows to tell David that he has to run really far away. So one more time with the simon. Yonatan in the cafe shoots warning arrows at the server to send a message. We are going to do a 4 perek back chazara. Oh, that's weird. The image is not being able to be uploaded, so we will just go here. Right? Yeah, perek tet zayin. Sorry about that. Shmuel anoints the big-toed acrobat playing the harp while he was looking for his balance ball. This reminds us how after Shmuel Hanavi got rid of Shaul as king and told everyone that he would no longer be king, he then finds David and appoints him as the new king. And then we also have a description of how David was the harp player for Shaul when he had temper tantrums, because he was full of lots of trauma. Now, perek Yud Zayin, we use a used car salesman. So David throws stones at the used car salesman for his blasphemous prices. This reminds us how the Plishtim and Bnei Israel were fighting. The Plishtim sent out their superhero, who was Goliath, and everyone in Bnei Israel is very afraid to attack him. But David comes up and very courageously comes and attacks Goliath, leading him to win and become very great among Bnei Israel. So Yud Chet, we use a chuppah. David hugs his friend under a chuppah the night before his wedding, then leaves. This reminds us how David and Yonatan had a very deep friendship. David became a very big in the army, leading people to sing about how great he was, and fear among Shaul, who thought he was trying to take his kingship. And Shaul enacts a plan to try to kill David by having him distracted by killing people to try to win his daughter. By killing 100 Plishtim and taking their foreskin. And we also have a description of how Shaul sometimes tries to kill David, leading us to perek Yud Tet, and we use a yacht. Shaul attempts to drive a yacht over David, but his wife Michal helps him escape in time. This reminds us how Shaul announces that he's going to kill David. Then Yonatan's like, maybe don't do that. And he's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Then Shaul throws a spear at David after he comes back from war, and after David comes back from war and is afraid. And David runs away. Michal helps his wife helps him escape, and then puts a dummy in his bed so to divert attention, giving time for David to escape. We're going to do an 7 plus 1 question pop quiz. In which perek does David defeat Goliath with a single stone? Perek Yud Zayin. Which perek does Yonatan use secret arrows to warn David to escape? Perek Chaf. Which perek does Michal help David escape out a window? Perek Yud Tet. Which perek does Shmuel secretly anoint David as the future king? Perek Tet Zayin. Which perek is Shaul officially rejected by Hashem for sparing Agag? Perek Tet Vav. Which perek does Shaul throw a spear at Yonatan during a feast? Perek Chaf. Which perek does David play the harp to soothe King Shaul? Perek Tet Zayin. Shoftim bonus question. Which perek does Shimshon escape from chains and kill many Plishtim with the jawbone of a donkey? Perek Tet Vav. That is it for today. May we be zocha to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time, and remember it day after day. Have a wonderful day.